Let's make some New York style bagels. The recipe can be divided into two major steps: preparation of the dough and cooking of the bagels. The ingredients for the dough include 2 tablespoons of barley malt syrup, 1 packet of active dry yeast, 2 1/4 cups of water, 7 1/3 cups of high protein bread flour, and 1 1/2 teaspoons of kosher salt. For boiling and topping the bagels, the following is needed: 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/4 cup of barley malt syrup, 1 egg, and bagel toppings of choice. The equipment needed to make the bagels include measuring spoons, measuring cups, kitchen scale, kitchen thermometer, large mixing bowl, whisk, wooden spoon or spatula, damp kitchen towel, plastic wrap, large cloth, slotted spoon, 2 baking sheets, parchment paper, pastry brush, and timer. Only after making sure the cooking space is clean and hands have been properly washed, check the temperature of the water to make sure it is in the 105 to 110 degree range. Then the barley malt syrup and warm water are whisked together until combined. Next, the yeast is stirred until fully dissolves. Then the yeast mixture will be set aside to rest for about 5 minutes to foam. The bread flour and salt are mixed together, then a well is made in the center. The yeast mixture is poured into the well and the dough is mixed by hand until shaggy. Making sure hands are washed just prior to mixing, the dough is kneaded until smooth and slightly sticky. As flour and water are mixed together and kneaded, the two proteins glutenin and gliadin form gluten. Gluten strands are stretchy and elastic. When making the bread, these strands of protein trap the CO2 gases produced by yeast fermentation, thus giving the bagels structure and strength. Bread flour is used in this recipe because it contains the highest amount of protein. Higher protein content means that it can develop more gluten than the other types of flour. This is what gives bagels a chewy texture and strong structure. Once the dough has come together, it is transferred to a clean, large bowl, covered with a damp towel, and set aside to rise at room temperature until doubled in size, which is about 2 hours. Now that the dough has had a chance to rise, we can shape the bagels, with clean hands of course. The dough is punched down and put onto a clean surface. The dough is then divided in 12 equal pieces and rolled into a ball. Working with one piece at a time, a hole is poked in the center of each bagel and stretched to create a ring shape of a bagel. Once all bagels are formed, each sheet is covered with plastic wrap and left to refrigerate for at least 4 hours. After proofing, a 1/4 cup of the barley malt syrup and 1 teaspoon of baking soda is added to a large pot of boiling water. One at a time, the bagels are placed into the boiling water for 20 seconds on each side. Boiling the bagel dough uses the method of heat transfer of convection. When the bagels are placed into boiling water, the water circulates as hot water rises and cooler water sinks, creating a constant cycle of rising and sinking water known as convection current. In this process, hot water molecules then move and collide rapidly against the surface of the dough, causing the outer layer of the bagel to quickly heat up and gelatinize. This displays the method of convection. Once all the bagels have been boiled, 1 egg is cracked and whisked to form an egg wash. Raw eggs should be held below 40 degrees to avoid the temperature danger zone of 41 to 135 degrees Fahrenheit in order to practice appropriate food safety. Harmful bacteria can grow in the temperature danger zone when food is left out for more than 2 hours. We kept the time the eggs spent outside of the fridge to a minimum to prevent the bacteria that can form when left at room temperature. Each bagel is brushed with egg wash and sprinkled with bagel seasoning. They are baked for 15 minutes at 450 degrees. The bagels are done.